Hi guys, namaste and welcome once again to Dance with Deepthi, and thank you so much for all the love and support that you have shown my channel. And I really appreciate we've reached the 100k mark, and it's all because of you. So as I had promised to you, today is a special video where we'll be talking about diet plan, and this diet plan will be from the perspective of weight loss. It will also help you do the workouts along with your diet, and also help you maintain good health. So let's get started. I know that everybody wants to see results and they want to see results quickly. But the one way to understand this is let's take an example. If you're given an exam and you do extremely well in mathematics and you get 100 on 100 in maths, but you fail in science, you fail in social science, you fail in languages, then what is the net result? The net result is still that you failed the exam. Taking a similar approach on weight loss as well. If you do extremely well on losing your kgs or your pounds and you're doing 100 on 100 and you lost 10 to 20 kgs, but you failed in the other subjects of immunity, your bone density, your muscle mass, your hormonal balance, and also put yourself to a risk of many of the lifestyle diseases, then the net result will still be exactly. So, when I was designing the diet plan, it was very important for me to keep it simple, keep it effective, and easy to follow, exactly like my workouts. Because if there's something that you have to do every day and you have to feel good about doing it, it has to be something which is easy to do, otherwise, you'll end up not doing it and then not getting the results. Let's move on to the next topic, which is how many calories you really need and how to create the calorie deficit, which will help you in the weight loss process. So, to understand calorie and calorie deficit, let's take an example. If there's a woman of 35 years who's fairly active, the average number of calories that she would need is around 2000 to 200 calories. In order to, and this is all to only maintain her weight. In order for her to start losing weight, she will need to start creating a calorie deficit. Now, there is a very simple two-step process that I'll explain to you on how to achieve this deficit. The first step is by reducing your calorie intake, which basically means you start consuming lesser calories. And the best way to do it is reduce it by 250 to 300 calories without affecting your health. And that's how you can easily get 250 to 300 calorie deficit through your diet itself. The second step of the process is to start introducing activities in your lifestyle, which basically means that if you're doing a 30-minute workout with me and you're burning 300 calories, then that 300 calorie also creates a 300 calorie deficit. So what we effectively get is you get 300 calories from your diet, you get another 300 calories from your activity. So you've already created a deficit of 600 calories, which will all help in her losing her weight. Now I know what you're thinking. What if I start introducing more deficit in my diet and my activities and go for a much larger deficit in general? Now, one thing you have to watch out for is, again, going back to the old example, that we don't want to win in one and fail in the rest of the exams. So what I'll still do is give you a simple hack to this. What you can do very, very safely is that you keep the 300 calorie deficit in your diet, and instead you play on the activity front. And instead of burning 300 calories on a half an hour workout, what you can do is you can do 1 hour workout every single day, burn 500 to 600 calories out of it. And when you put them together, you get a total of 900 calorie deficit, which is extremely good for weight loss. So now you understand the math, and it's very, very simple on how to achieve weight loss without compromising your food, without going on crash diets, and also maintaining your health. Let me share a fun fact with you. A lot of my workouts are actually designed as steady state cardio workouts, which basically means that they keep you in the fat burning zone for a longer time by maintaining your heart rate at that certain level, and which also means that you end up burning more fat calories than regular calories. The benefit is you tend to burn more fat and you become leaner and also lose weight at the same time. So, my first tip to you is don't work hard, work smart. Once you understand how things work, it will be much easier for you to adapt it in your lifestyle and see the changes that you've always wanted to see. A lot of people have reached out to me on what should I eat? Should I completely leave rice and roti? Should I completely stop carbohydrates? Should I increase my protein intake? Will eating fat make me fat? Now, these are very basic questions. All these questions revolve around three main areas, which are also the building blocks of our diet: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So, let me tell you this. Here is a very simple diagram of what your plate should look like. Now, almost 50 to 60% of your plate actually should come from carbohydrates. Around 35 to 45% comes from protein, and the rest comes from fat. Now, this is what a balanced plate looks like. And what I've also highlighted around here is some of the food choices that are going with each of these building blocks. Now, you can see that vegetables and fruits are also carbohydrates that are part of your diet, and they also come packed with a lot of minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants. So if you try to take carbohydrates out of your diet, you will also be missing a whole lot of these other things which come packaged along with carbohydrate, including your fiber. Similarly, there are a lot of foods which play in double zones. Like if you eat more beans and lentils, they actually give you a double benefit because they add the protein as well as the carb in your diet. So introducing one of these into your diet already makes it very, very well balanced. In terms of fat, the very important function that fat plays is also to help you absorb a lot of the vitamins and minerals. So you can have a lot of vitamins coming from your fruits, but if you don't have any fat in your diet, they will not get well absorbed in your system, which is where your immunity starts hurting. So that is why fat also plays a very critical role in your diet. So let's dive into the schedule. Now, the first thing you want to do in the morning is be able to detox and flush your body a little bit, because your body has been recycling itself and is in an elimination phase in the morning. So you can have 1 to 2 cups of warm to moderately hot water. You can add some honey or lemon to it, or you can have some green tea. All of them work as good as hot water itself. In addition, a lot of people like to do workouts in the morning. So if you're doing workouts, I would encourage you to not go empty stomach. You can eat 7 to 8 almonds, which are pre-soaked almonds or pre-soaked walnuts, 4 to 5 of them in the morning, and they will give you a good boost of energy. Alternatively, if you're a fruits person, you can also eat an apple or a banana in the morning. It will give you a good boost of energy, and you can do your workouts 15 to 30 minutes after eating this. One important thing that you should not do in the morning is have your tea or coffee on an empty stomach. Now, this not just plays with your nervous system and gives you a spike in sugar level, but also it disrupts your whole digestive system and even kills your appetite. So the one important change that you need to make is that your tea and coffee has to come along with your breakfast. Say for example, you're taking your breakfast around 8:30. Please eat a nice wholesome breakfast. So you can eat very, very traditional choices like upma, you can have poha, or you can even eat two servings of idli along with sambar and chutney. Another good option could be a whole wheat sandwich. If you don't have too much time, then you can put a green chutney on your sandwich along with cucumber and tomato, and that's a very good healthy way of filling up your stomach in the morning. If you have access, you can even put avocado and tomato into your sandwich, and that also makes for great breakfast in the morning. Now, few of the bad choices that people make in the morning is like eating your cornflakes with milk or eating packed yogurts, especially the ones which are flavored, white breads, and white flour pancakes. Now, the problem with some of these foods is they're highly processed and contain a lot of hidden sugar which you may not be aware of. So I would try and say that go for more homemade healthy options rather than resort to some of these shortcuts. An alternative solution to cornflakes is go for oats, the real oats. You soak it themselves, put some nuts and fruits into it, or you can go for whole wheat options in terms of breads or pancakes. After breakfast, after an hour and a half, you can actually do your workout in the morning. If you're a late morning person, then you can do your workouts around 10 o'clock. And then around 11, when you're really hungry after your workout, it's the best time to actually pick up a fruit, because fruits work best on empty stomach. It helps you absorb all the minerals and vitamins in a very easy way, because it doesn't mix with other foods. And because fruits are very light to digest, you can still have your lunch in time. Now, in terms of lunch, it is very important to eat again in time. This is very, very critical. So around 12:31 is when typically you should be having your lunch. And remember this, lunch is your most important meal for the day. It provides you energy almost for the whole day. It's in your active phase, so it's very, very important that you eat lunch well and make time for it. So it's very important to eat a wholesome lunch. And some of the choices I'm highlighting here. What you need to understand here in the choices is that we have a good balance of carbs, protein, fats in the entire diet, and we need to have all of these components to give ourselves that full experience. Now, especially for non-veg eaters, now whenever you have a portion of non-veg on your plate, I would encourage you to also have a portion of vegetables or lentils on your plate, because what happens is that they do provide a lot of fiber and other nutrients that you're required to help aid your digestion and absorption. So when you mix both of them on a diet plate together, they actually give you better results than eating only the non-veg. When I talk about vegetables, I'm not talking about fritters or pakoras, though they are not bad once in a while. But in general, you should be ideally either sauteing your vegetable or making a sabji out of it, or you can eat them in a boiled form as well. Do not compromise on taste. Add your spices, add everything that you like. Also, you can drizzle some oil or ghee onto them to make it more savory in taste, because the fat is what will give you the satisfaction and make it more inviting. So net net, what you need to understand is that don't make your food so boring that you don't feel like eating it and then you end up ordering from the restaurant instead. Make food good choices and make them wholesome with a lot of flavor, so that you feel like eating them. Now, after eating a nice heavy lunch, you basically want to give some gap enough for it to fully digest and get utilized as energy. Stay active. A lot of people like to sleep in the afternoon. I would say that please don't sleep after your heavy meal. What you can do is you can wait for 1 hour, 1.5 hours to 2 hours before you take a nap. An afternoon nap is good for 15 to 30 minutes, but anything more than that might actually not let you sleep in the night. Now, coming to the evenings, a lot of people have a tendency to give a very big gap between their lunches and their dinners. Now, that gap is also not good. I'm not saying that you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours, but if you're really hungry in the evening, again, the same principle. When you are on an empty stomach, that's the best time to pick up a fruit. Or alternatively, you can make something like a chaat, which is basically one protein element. It could be chana, it could be peanuts, it could be some form of boiled beans. And you can toss it with cucumber, you can toss it with tomatoes, beetroot, make a mix, add some nice masala onto it, and you can eat it in the evening. So that's a very good protein food that you can eat in the evening. Can also work as a very good pre-workout meal if you want some more energy. And if you're doing your workouts in the evening, then you can easily do your workouts around 5:36 and still get the benefit. Last but obviously not the least is the dinner. And this is one of the important considerations we need to have, is that you need to start eating your dinners early. And that is very, very critical, because no matter what you're eating, even if you're eating salad for dinner and you eat it at 10 o'clock, it will still go wrong. So what you need to do is need to start eating early, around closer to sunset, maybe approximately 7:30 or 8 o'clock, which means that if you're sleeping around 11 o'clock, then you at least get 3 hours before you can digest the food and then go to sleep. Now, a lot of people are used to cutting down carbs completely from their dinner time diet. And I don't encourage that, because in the night time as well, you have a need for the carb. So it's very important to keep that meal equally balanced. And here are some of the choices that I've highlighted. Khichdi actually is a superfood by itself. It's a very, very complete meal. You can have it with white rice, you can have it with dalia, which is basically cracked wheat. You can have it with moong dal or masri dal, depending on which one you prefer. You can add the vegetables that you like into it, and then you can also drizzle some ghee on top and add a few of the spices if you like, to make it a little more fun. It is very light and easy to digest on the stomach as well. It will keep you full for a very long time, which also means that you don't have to do any further midnight snacking. And that is why it is very important to eat your dinner well, because if you don't eat your dinner well and if you don't eat a good complete dinner, then you will end up snacking in the midnight, and which is even worse for your weight loss. Now, what do we do after dinner? Typically, after dinner, we are expected to be doing all calming activities. You can do reading, you can spend time with family, maybe you can catch up with some little bit of work and sleep at a good time, because sleeping is equally important for weight loss. A lot of people reach out to me saying, can I do late night workouts? Now, when you do your workouts, it just triggers the excitement, the adrenaline in your body, and it gets you really, really excited. And that's something you want to avoid in the nighttime, because you won't be able to sleep very well after that. So, what I would say is try and find time between the mornings and the evenings to do your workout, and if possible, avoid late nights. If you have noticed that most of the suggestions that I have given in my diet plan are fairly generic and can be applied to everybody in the house, but you have to remember that certain members, like teens and older people, might have different calorie requirements, which you can always calculate, and it's very easy. People who suffer from diabetes have a completely different way of eating. They are encouraged to eat more often, like 2 to 3 hours. You can use some of the healthy eating principles, but it is always better to work with a nutritionist or a dietitian to get the right diet for you. Similarly, people who are suffering from PCOS, I would encourage you to start following some of the healthy habits, include more leaner meats into your diet, and eat a lot of bright colored vegetables and vegetables in your diet. There are some other considerations which are very specific. Again, I would encourage you to go to a nutritionist or a dietitian to get a meal plan that works for you. But these are some of the generic guidelines which will really help you put yourself on track in terms of what to eat and when to eat. So with that said, that's how we summarize the day. It is very, very simple. Throughout the day, I did not mention, but throughout the day, try and take at least 2 liters of water into your body, because that's really, really helpful to keep the system going. We are made up of water dominantly, so it's going to be very useful. And I hope you find these tips useful. If there are more topics that you want me to touch upon in terms of diet, in terms of overall daily course of lifestyle, please let me know in the comment section. If I don't reply to you in the comment section, mostly I'm collecting the points for a future video, so you will see them coming. So don't worry if I don't answer you fully. With that said, thank you again. Keep watching. If you like it, please don't forget to share it with other people who might also find it useful. Thank you, and for next time, see you again. Bye.